I think we're eventually going to get through every single Schwarzenegger movie. I realize this.
We're cleaning house this year.
We're not only are we cleaning house, we're also hitting up on a lot of the Carol Co. productions.
Yeah, no shit, eh? We really are.
Yeah, like I even went so far as to go with the list of what they've done, and I'm like, yeah, wow, okay. I thought for sure they did Terminator 1, but they didn't.
Who's that? Orion?
Yeah, they did Terminator 1, but then
And
Terminator
Kuroko
2.
was 2, right?
Yeah, which I thought
Yeah.
was really interesting. But
Yeah.
like most of the movies they did were with Arnold.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, I've been watching a lot of Schwarzenegger movies this year.
You know what? Like I'm a Schwarzenegger fan, so I can
me
care
too.
less. You know, like it'll be rough when we start scraping the bottom of the barrel and saying things like, you know, upon further reflection, 6 days not that bad. But I do remember distinctly watching The Sixth Day, and I was like, I think he's starting to dip.
I've had that Blu-ray for like over 10 years, and it's not even open.
I think I've only watched it the one time with you, and that was it.
Look at the price I got it for.
That is a steal. That is a steal for $5.
Like, Cormac. Okay. No, because this almost seems like a Philip K. Dick type of story too.
Yeah, it's actually interesting how much Hollywood loves Philip K. Dick stuff.
They love it.
Absolutely love it.
Yep.
Speaking of Philip K. Dick, speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, speaking of Geek Pants Camcast, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Total Recall Geek Pants Camcast.
Ooh, Total Recall.
Yeah.
I have not watched Total Recall in years. This is my first time in a long time.
Yeah, me neither. Starring Kenneth Levitsky and Chris Mercier.
That guy. Over there.
Depending on your viewing, but yeah. So I agree. Like I hadn't watched this in quite some time. I actually think the last time I watched this was just before the remake came out. Was the last time I watched it.
I didn't
all the way through.
I watched the remake, but I didn't watch the original anywhere during that time. I probably haven't watched this in nearly 25 years, I'm thinking.
Oh wow. See, I can't this is one of those movies where every once in a while I'll get the itch and I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that to break my 8-year run of not watching this.
8-year run.
Well, yeah, because it was in 2012 that
it's crazy
the
remake's that old array. I don't know where friggin' time is going.
Well, the other part too is that the remake it wasn't that good to begin with. So
I enjoyed the remake.
I
greatly enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that they were fighting on a ship that was going through the middle of the earth. I'm like, come on, what the fuck? They'd be melting.
I didn't like that scene. I also didn't like the fact that Bryan Cranston was physically able to keep up with Colin Farrell's character. Like, I mean, I know that Cranston was like an aged veteran type of thing. But we're also talking about like an elite spy assassin in the peak physical condition who's ripping through all these soldiers. I'm not done yet. And just manages to like not get hit once. And then finally, when he gets to Bryan Cranston, he's like, oh man, I might lose this fight. I'm done now.
Okay. I had a similar reaction while watching this, seeing Michael Ironside like beat the shit out of Schwarzenegger. I was like, come on.
The only thing I'll say about that one,
he's got a tough man voice, but he's not a tough man compared to Schwarzenegger.
I didn't have this one wasn't that bad, especially because of the way in which Schwarzenegger beats him.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it is pretty brutal, actually. In fact, like this movie was the movie that Hot Shots Part 2 spoofed for the kill count. because apparently like this had like one of the highest kill counts at that time period for a movie.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, I wasn't really paying attention. This was like after the fact when I was doing my research on it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's a violent and brutally violent movie, but like I wasn't like at the end of the movie, I wasn't like they fucking killed a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like compared to other Schwarzenegger movies, it doesn't really seem like that much higher.
But I guess it would depend on the movie, right? Because like Predator, low kill count.
Yeah.
Terminator, surprisingly low kill count.
Mm-hmm.
Terminator 2, low kill count. In fact, I don't think Terminator the T-8000 or T-800 killed anybody actually.
The highest kill count in his movies would probably be Commando.
Yeah, Commando would be one of the highest.
Yeah.
And I think that's another Carol Coe movie as well.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Wasn't Red Heat that too, Carol Coe?
I don't think so because Jim Belushi was in that as well.
Right.
And at the time, Jim Belushi was starting to make a name for himself, but I could be wrong. It could be Carol Coe. Is it Carol Coe or Carol Coe? I don't know. I just say Carol Coe.
Carol Coe.
Yeah, I just say Carol.
You got to roll the R.
And one thing I noticed too when I was rewatching this is that, and I thought about this, Schwarzenegger's movies at this time period have quite a number of persons of color in these movies.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, like Melina, she's a darker woman in this, and then.
Well, I mean, you mentioned
a white woman in the remake, yeah.
Whatchamacallit, Commando. So Commando, the lead female, she was.
Was it lead female in Conan Black too?
No, but Conan the Destroyer, the sequel, had what's her face, a model. She was in James Bond.
Grace something, right? Grace.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. Because I swear the one of the Conans, there was a black prince. I don't think she was a princess even, but I vaguely remember like a Conan poster with her on it. It must have been that Conan the Destroyer.
It might have been, but then again, it's been so long since I've seen Conan that it might even be. You might be right.
I haven't seen Conan in years. All I remember is James Earl Jones was creepy as fuck in it.
Oh my God, so creepy and surprising too.
Yeah,
because like I know James Earl, like up until I watched that movie, I knew James Earl Jones for Field of Dreams.
Yeah,
and I don't think I knew that he was the voice of Darth Vader at the time. Because I was young when I watched Conan.
What? Yeah, because I'm thinking, when did I watch that? Yeah, I would have watched that before '94. So, because I was thinking, like, did I watch it after Lion King or not? Because I mean, he's obviously
Lion King.
Right?
Yes. So, no, you know what? Yeah, no, I would. It would have been Lion King as well. That's right. So
I feel like Conan was probably one of the first rated R movies I saw.
Yeah, I think I was 9 or 10 when I saw it. 10 or 11.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. 10 or 11 when I saw it, but I remember just being like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it's crazy. This is crazy.
Actually, that's not the first one I've ever seen though, because I watched Predator when I was young, and Commando.
I didn't watch Predator for a while. I mean, horror movies scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Now I love it.
But like Trevor was a huge Schwarzenegger fan, so I ended up watching a bunch of those movies with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Terminator 2 might have actually been the first Schwarzenegger movie that I watched. Because my dad wasn't a huge Schwarzenegger fan. I remember we talked about
James
this Bond, for Predator. Seagal, and he had, the Lethal Weapons and Beverly Hills Cops, but he never really had any of those Schwarzenegger, like even Stallone. He never had any Stallone movies. My grandfather liked Stallone, so I watched Stallone there.
That explains it. Okay.
And then I loved Van Damme on my own because of Bloodsport, and I was in karate and everything. So
yeah, for me it was no crap. Now I can't remember it now. Double Trouble.
Oh, Double Team.
Double Team? No, not Double Team.
Oh, Double Impact.
Double Impact. That's the one. Double.
And not Double Team, not the Rodman movie.
Yeah. Double Team. Good God. Oh, actually, it's funny though. You mentioned that I started watching Maximum Risk the other day.
Oh, nice.
I started watching it because I could have swore I'd seen it before. Yeah. I'd never seen it. So like the first 5 minutes of the movie, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening? And the best part is that's another movie where he plays a twin.
Yeah. He played a twin in so many movies.
It's like his favorite thing to do.
Replicant. There was 2 Van Dammes in Replicant.
Oh, see, some of his later stuff I haven't watched it as religious. I think the last movie that I watched before his straight to video stuff and like JCVD, was the Legionnaire. Is that
Legionnaire? Right? I think Legionnaire was actually his last movie to go to the theater.
I think so too. Because because that was after Knockoff.
Yeah.
Knockoff is all right.
Knockoff. I had to watch Knockoff. I remember not liking Knockoff when I was younger because the cinematography pissed me off. Like it was like all hand cam, and I hated it.
I remember liking it for some reason.
Schneider was in that, right? Is that the one with Schneider?
Yes, that's the one with Schneider.
Okay.
I think that might have been also the reason why I liked it because I'm a huge fan for Schneider. Even
We're on that Schneider kick.
He's. I don't know, like even though he hasn't done anything like epic at all by any means. And if someone said like, no, he could act, I'd be like, no, he can't.
No.
No, he can't. And let's be real here. You don't want him to anyway.
No. I can't even imagine what a serious movie with Schneider would be like.
It wouldn't happen because it would be like you know what? And this is going to pain me a little bit, but it'd be like Pauly Shore in a serious movie. It would no longer be a serious movie because Pauly Shore's in it.
Because Pauly Shore.
Because it's Pauly Shore. Like it's not like Rodney Dangerfield in Natural Born Killers, because that was such an about face for him in terms of his on-screen character that he's always played, like his Rodney Dangerfield character.
Yeah.
And then to see him like an alcoholic, abusive, like piece of shit, and doesn't play it for laughs at all. Whereas like I feel like Pauly Shore, Rob Schneider couldn't help but play it for laughs because they don't know any other way. You know, it's different from Adam Sandler. Whereas like with Adam Sandler, if somebody said, "Oh, he can't act," I'd be like, "No, here's a stack of movies you need to watch because he can act. He just doesn't have to."
Yeah.
This is him when he wants to, just to say, "Hey guys, I can actually act." But the rest of that is him doing what he wants.
Yeah. And getting paid just as much. So why bother?
I don't think he's getting paid as much on his serious roles.
Probably not. I think Uncut Gems was very indie. Like that was a low budget movie.
But that's also Netflix. That's part of his Netflix thing.
Uncut Gems? That wasn't Netflix.
It wasn't? It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. That was part of his... No, that one was in theaters. That wasn't part of the Netflix deal.
I thought that was part of his Netflix contract.
Nope.
Interesting that it went to theaters. Weird.
Yep. I think his Netflix deal was up. He's just renewed it. Because I think it was only for 6 movies or something like that. And what 6 garbage movies they were. I
was just gonna say, what a pile of garbage. Like it seemed like each one got progressively worse.
Yeah.
Because I sat through the Retarded 8 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, whatever that was called.
I sat through that one and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I was pumped. Like I was excited. I was like, oh my God, this is Adam Sandler. Like this is going to be so good. And then I watched it. I was like, this is a fucking turd sandwich. And then I decided to watch The Do-Over for another turd sandwich. But that's again, because I like all those guys. Like I like David Spade and I like Adam Sandler. I think what it is that I've seen the same type of movie from these guys for so long that it's like, I'm good.
The only decent one out of that bunch was that Jennifer Aniston one he did, where they were on the ship. I don't remember the name of it.
I didn't even want to watch that one.
But that was easily the best of the bunch.
Because I also hate to say this, but I also sat through that Kevin James vehicle where he was the spy author.
Oh yeah.
Who ended up becoming a spy in real life. Yeah, I sat through all of that. In one sitting. None of this like broke it up into parts. I watched it all the way through, and by the end of it, I was like, "What am I doing with my life?"
It's got to be something more than this.
The choices I'm making are not good. Hey, mini rant aside, Total Recall. That's what
Total Recall,
right?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't do as extensive notes as I've been doing in the past, mainly because I feel like this one's going to be free flowing anyway. But I did cover the basics. It was released in 1990.
Yep.
Its budget was $65 million, and my God, did they put like this money to use? Like, I mean, I think it was only like 11 million was Stallone's salary, plus he got a cut of the profits. But other than that, the rest of this was just cast and like special effects and story.
Oh, special effects must have cost a fortune on this. I mean, they had Rick Bowden on there, who did The Thing. I mean,
well, everything in this movie just looks awesome. Like even in the opening segment, minutes of the movie when they're on the moon.
Yeah.
And the masks or the astronaut helmets or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They break open and all of a sudden you get like that horrible, like their atmosphere is sucking them out and they just get all bulged out. That looked incredible. That's still like, that's one of the most scarring things. Like it's etched into my brain so much so that one of the reasons why I wasn't a big fan of the remake was because you didn't get to see scenes like that.
No, because they didn't go to Mars.
No, they didn't go to Mars at all. But I mean, they could have had that as part of the dream because even though in this movie they go to Mars, in the book that it's based on or the short story, whatever, and the remake, they don't go to Mars. Going to Mars is a central plot line of all three of them.
Yeah.
Even though the remake is closer to the book than the first movie.
Right. Yeah, this is just Paul Verhoeven going nuts.
Although to be fair, he's a weird dude to begin with. Like I looked through his discography or videography, and I was like, he's done some like it's weird for him to go from like I'm not talking about his Dutch movies or whatever, although they all sound weird.
Yeah.
But like he goes from like RoboCop and this to like what was one of them that blew me away? It's like a romantic comedy.
He did Showgirls.
Showgirls, yes, that's exactly the one I was thinking of. I was like, that's a weird.
And then after Showgirls, he did Spaceship Troopers or Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers, yeah. So it's like you've got like Starship Troopers, RoboCop, and Total Recall, and you're like, okay, like yeah, all right, like you can fucking direct the shit out of some vulgar, graphic action movies, and then all of a sudden you're doing Showgirls, and you're like, what? Okay. All right.
Yeah. I always thought that was funny. From the director of RoboCop.
Yeah. And Total Recall comes
Showgirl.
A story about a girl who's taking her clothes off. Showgirls.
Yeah.
You know what? I've never watched that movie all the way through.
Oh, me neither.
After sitting through
Striptease?
After sitting through Striptease, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to see. If I want to watch a movie like that, I'll watch a porno like I should be doing in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Striptease is funny, man. I remember having the VHS and having the poster on my wall. And I don't know how I got away with it with my mom.
Well, I think it's because it wasn't any nudity.
I mean, yeah, there was no nudity. I mean,
I think that's literally what it was. It wasn't like, and as far as posters go, what was there sexual about that?
Oh, it was just her, like, she was naked, but she was in, like, that crouched over.
But you can't even really say she was naked. She could have been covered up underneath the way she was posed. We don't know.
She could have been. She could have been.
I know she wasn't in your dreams though.
Oh, Demi Moore. Demi Moore. It's funny how like those scenes were really good, but then they just fucking throw it away with a greasy Burt Reynolds. He was so dirty and gross now.
No, it's not even just throwing it away with a greasy Burt Reynolds because he had to be a dirtbag. It's the story itself was a pile of garbage.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like very generic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you took out the fact that Demi Moore was getting topless for, I think, 3 whole minutes of total runtime.
I remember all the marketing.
Maybe five. But if you take that aspect out, it's worse because yes, it's a generic, like down on her luck mom trying to get money for her kids to keep her kid. But it's a shitty version of that generic plot.
Yeah.
And you had like decent actors in it, and it was still like a stinking pile of. Anyway, back to Total Recall. So the budget was $65 million, and it grossed. You ready for it?
There we go.
$261.3 million. We mentioned Carol Coe. We mentioned the director.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple of people in the cast, but let's start from. I literally just wrote down the top 5.
Let's mention the writers first.
Oh yes, let's do the writers.
Okay, so it's
all
from
20 of them.
It had a lot of writers. Well, it's based on the Philip K. Dick book, but it was written by the 2 guys that wrote Alien, and the one guy that wrote Big Trouble in Little China. And
yep,
you could definitely see the styles of both of those movies in this one.
Yep. And there was also one other guy that didn't get credit for it. But I can't remember his name now. I meant to write it down, and for some reason I didn't. But like, he definitely, like, they were like, he's definitely, he had such a big hand in it because he had been part of it from almost the beginning.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless, so yeah, so we've got, the reality is that we've got such huge pedigree for this movie that I feel like there's no way that this movie wouldn't have done good. Like, even though it took a while to get to where it was, and even going through like a different director, and even like finding out that originally Arnold Schwarzenegger was not supposed to be the lead. Yeah. It was only when it started they were getting ready to just kind of go, fuck it, let's just shelve it, that he swooped in and was like, okay, well, you know what? How about we bring in my buddies from Carol Co. And we'll get that guy from RoboCop, because that's a pretty good movie, right? And I'll be the lead. And they were like, whatever, fine, okay, you can get this going, we'll do it. And then they did.
It's crazy that he was 41 at the time of shooting that.
Actually, it's crazy that at his height he was already approaching his 50s.
Yeah.
Like, at his height, he was in his 50s, which is incredible to think of it.
Just goes to show you that, like, as guys in their mid-30s going, oh, well, I guess that's it for life. Fuck no.
I mean, well, who said that? I never said that.
No, but it's like in general.
Is everything okay, Kenneth?
In general.
Do you need to talk about stuff?
I need to talk, man. I don't want to be a warehouse guy my whole life.
Just pretend I'm rubbing your cheek. It's okay, man. It's okay. There you go.
Fucking mirrored images.
It's okay. Or here. Is that better?
Yeah. Fucking backhanded me.
No? Okay. Yeah, you froze. You froze like this. Not quite. But yeah, like, yeah, it's one of those, like, when you, in retrospect, you think like, oh my God, like, you don't realize, first of all, you don't realize it because the guy didn't age at all.
Yeah.
I think the only time I actually literally noticed that he was getting older was when he was the governor.
That aged him. That aged him for sure.
And it would, because I think he was like 2 terms there.
Yeah.
But he would have been in his late 50s at that point.
Yeah.
What was his last movie? Was it The Sixth Day?
Before he became governor?
Yeah.
I think it was.
For some reason, I think there was a...
No, his last movie was End of Days.
Yeah, that's right.
Sixth Day was his comeback movie.
No.
Or no, that was his in-between movie. when was Sixth Day?
His comeback movie was Collateral, wasn't it? Not Collateral.
Okay, no, this would be his last movie. This was 2000, 2 years after End of Days.
Okay.
So yeah, no, you're right. No, his comeback movie was Expendables.
That's right. Because that the one I'm thinking of, that was before End of Days. That's the one where he was the firefighter and his family was killed in 9/11.
Oh yeah, Collateral Damage.
Oh, I was so close when I said Collateral. I was like,
that was a really good movie. I totally forgot about that movie.
I remember not wanting to watch it at first because I think I was getting to the point where I was a little bit burned out of Schwarzenegger, but which is stupid because then I watched End of Days.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. But anyway, I remember watching it later, and my only real point of contention was the similar point of contention with Sudden Death, where was it Sudden Death?
Yeah, Sudden
Death, where they both like play regular dudes, right? So like he was a firefighter. Schwarzenegger's character was a firefighter, and I can't remember if they had any sort of like special forces type of backstory for him because he was able to go to the Sandy Country and find the terrorists and kill the terrorists. And then Van Damme was he was a firefighter too, actually.
Was he a firefighter? I thought he was like a security guard at the skating rink or something. Oh, he started as a firefighter and then he became a security guard.
Because he couldn't save somebody.
Right.
And it fucked his life up. And even though he looks like all he does is practice martial arts and lift weights, he was also an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Who lost his family because of it. And he was a lowly security guard. I gotta rewatch that one too, because that's where he was like doing MacGyver shit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Powers Booth was the bad guy.
That's right, he was. He was a bad guy too.
Oh man, there was a really good stretch of action in the 90s. You know, everyone talks about action in the 80s, but action in the 90s was really fucking cool too.
I feel like it was like 85 to about 2000, or maybe 2000. Even like I'd say about 2000, where like it was still largely still using real people and practical effects.
Yeah.
There wasn't so much reliance on CGI, you know?
Yeah.
And plus, like, I think what it is too is that the time period sort of lends itself for this over the top craziness. Because like this movie, Total Recall, even if you take out all the Mars aspects and things like that, this is still a bonkers sci-fi, or not sci-fi, but like CIA movie. You know, I remember this time around I was watching it, and I was getting like distinct Jason Bourne vibes from it, like when he's figuring out who he was, but it also reminded me of like Paycheck, unfortunately. But that's another example.
Paycheck.
You know why? I don't have a hate for it. I have a general disliking for it. But would you like to know why?
Why?
Because it's a terrible movie. That's why. The premise, it's a cool premise. And I love it. It was John Woo, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was actually his last American movie.
It was his last American movie. I could see why. But anyway, so the premise is cool. The actors, they're all good. The director is phenomenal. Like I don't have any issues with anybody in the movie. It's just Aaron Eckhart, like an early role for him.
Yep.
It's just that the actual movie itself came out pretty shitty, in my opinion.
Yeah. It must not have been great because I don't remember a single thing about it. Ben Affleck was in it, right?
Oh yeah, you really don't remember much. Yes, he was the lead actually.
Affleck, Eckhart, and who was the female lead?
Come on, you can guess.
Who was the female lead in Paycheck? I don't even fucking remember.
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman. See, that was totally gone from my mind.
Yeah. But anyway, so I got like Paycheck vibes, like I said, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I've watched that movie twice, so I can honestly tell you, this isn't like a one and done for me. I've watched Paycheck twice. Garbage. Getting back to this movie, which isn't garbage.
It's gonna get voted for Camcast 100 now. Paycheck.
Oh God. Well, you know what? I would watch it. I would definitely watch it if that was voted for our 100th Camcast. But I would scold people the entire Camcast that they wasted our 100th Camcast on this movie.
Paycheck.
Fuck.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, so Arnold Schwarzenegger plays two roles. Douglas Quaid, a lowly factory worker who desperately wants to go to the moon because that's what he dreams about.
Yep.
But he also plays Carl Hauser, who is a douchebag piece of shit.
Yeah, who you think is a good guy.
I forgot too, and it'd been long enough where I forgot that was part of the last half hour twist.
I didn't see it coming. I was like, no way. Oh, wow.
I did this. I went like this. I went, oh, right. That's right. And then I was like, but he's not really bad though, right? Like he's just like, this is part of the show. And then but by the end of the movie, you're like, oh yeah, no, he was really a piece of shit. Okay. All right. Rachel Ticotin, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Molina.
Mm-hmm.
Early role for Sharon Stone as Laurie Quaid.
Yep.
The casting of her character for Kate Beckinsale was genius.
You know what I really like? Here's something I really, really like about the remake. And you said it's more based on the book, and I've never read the story.
I've never read it either, but Wikipedia is amazing.
I really like how there's Laurie in here, but then like her boyfriend or husband, they never really explain, is Richter, and Richter does the main chasing down of Quaid. Whereas in the remake, there is no Richter.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
Did everything he did, they just made Laurie do.
Right, which I thought was actually really refreshing. The other thing I liked was the whole almost Chinese infusion with their future vision. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like they were less trying to not look so much like Blade Runner. Yeah. Like this movie is definitely influenced by Blade Runner for sure.
Well, they're both Philip and K. Dick, so I mean, it makes sense.
But not even that. It's also just that mentality, right? Because like, what the hell was the? I forgot. I remember one of the reasons why there were so much problems getting this movie off the ground was that the producers ultimately wanted this to be like Raiders of the Lost Ark, like Indiana Jones, but on Mars. Anyway, sorry, I had to get that out because that would have bugged me if I didn't. But yeah, so like this one does look a lot closer to Blade Runner than the remake. But anyway, Ronnie Cox, good old Ronnie Cox, as Vilos Cohagen. And then, of course, you mentioned Michael Ironside as Richter. So
and then Mel Johnson Jr. as Benny. Another twist.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't think to cast him.
Well,
even though that was a pretty good twist.
I did. Yeah, I mean, just like this goofy friggin', and then the fact that it's the kid line that throws him off. I got 5 kids to feed. I got 4 kids to feed. I thought you had 5 or whatever he says.
I actually like the fact that they go through the trouble of showing that he's like a mutant too. Yeah. So then they immediately like, yeah, okay, we trust him. And he totally just sells him. And then I like that. I love that part where he goes like, I got 4 kids. He's like, what happened to the 5th one?
Yeah.
Ah, shit, you got me. I ain't got no kids. It's like, that's gross.
Cueto. Creepy.
Quado.
I totally forgot how friggin' creepy that is. Adrian said it looks like Chucky coming out of that guy's stomach.
Oh, it is just rough looking.
Yeah.
But again, like, so that's a classic example of practical effects.
Yes.
Today, that would have been CGI.
Yeah.
You know?
And it would have been the same.
It wouldn't have been the same. Because the other thing, too, is like, I don't want to like get on this tangent about CGI and stuff like that, but like you could touch Quado, you know?
Yeah.
Like you could probably touch him and then go, oh God, it sweats or whatever, like all of this gross stuff, but like it's just really cool special effects across the board. But I like how quickly paced this movie is.
It has a very quick pace to it.
And it's almost a 2-hour movie and it's fairly quick paced.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like 1 second, you know, he's dreaming about being on Mars. He tells his wife about it and she fucking loses it.
Yeah.
Like gets crazy about it. And he's just like, what? And then he goes to work. And the work scene, I think, is my favorite scene in the whole movie because, like, I get the impression that he was literally using a real jackhammer just so that he could just be jacked. I was like, we all get it, Schwarzenegger. Like,
your arms are like this.
You know, and then, of course, what's his face? Frank Costanzo.
Yeah.
Again, shows up again in a movie that we've reviewed.
Yep.
It's like, but it's also one of those things where I'm like, this is Hollywood, right? But of course, so you have like the Danny DeVito character who's best friends with the Arnold Schwarzenegger character. But like, one of my favorite things about this movie is that, like, they talk about how they shot it in such a way where you really can't tell if this actually did happen or if Quaid is actually still in recall, having that schizoembolism or whatever the word was that they used for it.
Yeah, that was nice too. I totally forgot
like, even
everything.
I think. Sorry, go on.
No, I just totally, like, this was like watching this again for the first time. Like, everything seemed new to me. Like that whole I don't remember the guy's name, but when him and that old guy and Lori show up and they're like, "Oh, you're still in recall right now."
Yes.
And I
See,
was
like there was so much shit that I forgot
cool.
about. So I was like, I'm in the same boat as you were. Like, oh, okay. It was one of those where they didn't have to do that scene to really hammer the fact that it's possible that he's, you know, hallucinating all of this.
Yeah.
So because they did that, it's weird because it elevates this, you know, generic action flick into something a little bit bigger than it could have been.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But even like Paul Verhoeven had said in interviews that it is all a dream. Why do you think it fades to white instead of fading to black? Because almost every single movie you've ever seen fades to black.
Yeah.
This one faded to white, and he's like, it's fucking dreaming. Huh. Like he's died on the actual in the chair because that's like when you see the light, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that's so cool.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never even caught on to that.
Well, because I read lots, right? So I came across that ages ago.
Yeah.
But the other part that's really, really cool too is like you can actually pretty much map out the movie in the first like 10 minutes of the movie because of the recall stuff. Because like as soon as they're going through the list, Schwarzenegger says like he wants to go to the moon, check.
Yep.
And then Schwarzenegger, he's the one that picks out the secret agent. No one else does. Like the guy's going through the list and he just goes, secret agent. She's like, okay, all right, secret agent package. He picks the woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, his wife is going to look like Sharon Stone. Like he's going to look like his wife, right?
Yep.
He has to go to Mars and there's all this other stuff. And every secret agent, there's all this like, who's with me, who's against me stuff. Like, so it's really like, I forgot how good this was. Just on that premise alone, that this could have happened for real, yep. Everything exactly like we saw it, or it could be totally fake, and he died, and this is all just a fever dream in his last moments of life.
Right, that's crazy.
It is, isn't it?
I like that.
Now you want to watch this again and see, like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like it's not a typical Schwarzenegger movie. It's got it's more of a thinking man movie, or thinking woman.
Exactly.
Like thinking it's not just a straightforward action flick.
That's right. Yeah, but like the best part too is it could be even with that scene. even with that scene where they're saying like, dude, like you're still on the chair.
Yeah. I
just came in, I booted in to see if we can get you out of here. And I brought your wife with me, see if we can get you out of here. But we can't. You could still look at it at face value and go, yeah, but this is just a action flick with mutants on Mars. No big deal. You don't have to think of it anything more than that. But it's rewarding when you actually start to kind of peel it away and stuff, which I really enjoy. I love it when you can rip apart a movie and still go, this is really good. It's actually really good.
The music is fantastic in this. It's a great score.
For it.
Like, did they win an award for it?
I'm almost positive that I'm pretty sure that the guy won an award for it.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised because like I was watching and I was like, okay, all right. And then I found myself at the beginning anyways, before they got to Mars, everything, focusing on the music in scenes more than the scene itself at times.
There was aspects where I was going through that too, but especially because like the beginning, I remember literally being like, huh, did they purposely try to make this sound like Terminator?
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
It was very close. And it was long too. Like I didn't expect the credits to be that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the soundtrack is amazing. Well, the score, I should say, is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything bad to say about this movie, to be perfectly honest.
No, I mean, I don't think anything bad. I mean, it felt when they got to Mars, there were scenes that felt very much like stage settings. You know what I mean? Like when they were on Earth, it felt like they were in a city at a time. But there was that part where they're like, Benny was driving them around and they were getting chased and everything, and it just felt like they were going around on a set, like on a stage.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, it's funny because as we're talking about this, there is two particular scees where I was just like, okay, you're kind of stretching it for me. But the set, I agree about the set, but I mean, for me, it's not so much a negative because, like, I expect a set like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I expect a set, but this, like, I also expect to be so into the movie, I'm not paying attention that it is a set. This, I like.
Okay.
That scene, I felt like it almost felt like a stage play type of thing. Like I knew they were on a stage right there. It felt like a stage.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I understand what you're saying because, like, it did kind of. It looked fake, is what I guess is what it is. So it did. And of course, like for somebody who hasn't seen it in like 25 years, then yeah, that's right. You're gonna be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and you're 100% correct. When they're in the city, even though they do that weird thing with cars where they purposely shape them weird, because in the future we use weird
everything's
angles.
So boxy looking.
Yeah, we remember geometry and we're like, gotta make it a box, but a weird box too.
A weird box, yeah.
Still handles like a car though.
With the most annoying robotic cabbies ever.
I actually didn't mind that so much. I thought it was hilarious that they would make a point of having the automated driver, but you would have the ability to drive with a stick shift, like a joystick, if you decided to disable the cab.
Yeah.
I thought that was really weird. I remember thinking to myself, every time I watched it, I remember thinking, why would they do that? Like, why would they have a backup joystick?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I guess it's for if there's a malfunction, but you would think that if there was a malfunction of the driver, it would send an error report to the main hub, and the main hub would send out a new cab. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know, I mean, we're dealing with.
It's better if the
fan
takes over.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But yeah, I guess you're right about the set. You know what? You're right. It is actually when they're driving around Mars, because when they're in the Venusville is what it's called, but when they're in the bar itself, not so bad.
No, in the bar wasn't bad. Right outside of the bar, and they keep showing that scene where the fans shut off and they're all laying on the ground and stuff. Every time that scene came up, it actually took me out of the movie for a moment because it felt like a stage. You know what I mean?
The scene for me that really took me out of it was when Quaid and Melina or Melina, sorry,
yeah,
are literally fighting the tunnel machines.
Right.
You know, and like it almost feels like 10 minutes of him drilling the fucking hose, and he's getting like hit by the blades and things like that. And I was like, ugh. Like, because I always feel like in that situation, your arm is going to get caught by one of them, and then the whole thing goes in. It's not
if
just
it's
like
rotating like this and it catches your shirt. I mean, you're not just going to get a slice. Your arm's going to go.
Yeah, but
like
even
gone.
then, like, and the slice, even if all you get is a slice, it's going to lop off a chunk of your arm. It's not going to be like a little cut that you just kind of go, ow, get back to drilling.
Yeah.
So that was
how badass would it have been if his arm did do that and he gets like dislocated and he has to put it back in or something?
I still think it would have been ripped off.
It would have been right. Well, I don't know if you have.
But I agree. Like if he would have had that, like, you know, pop his shoulder back in or whatever, that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the other scene is the end of the movie where they're both suffocating from Mars.
Yeah.
And because it takes like, you know, almost 10 minutes for the atmosphere to change. But the whole time I was watching that scene this time around, I was like, they would have been dead.
Yeah. I mean, like.
And even if they didn't die, like, how is it that when the Earth's atmosphere does hit them and they can breathe the air, that all this area here that was just bulging out
just goes back to normal?
Goes right back in like normal, no swelling, no bruising, no nothing. And they're just like, oh, yeah. Want to go bang? Because I feel great.
Yeah.
Those two scenes, those were the two scenes where I was like, you know what? Like,
they definitely would have had like some fisheye going on still. Like,
yeah,
their eyes were coming out of their sockets.
And that's if they lived, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're right. Like Cohagen went out and he freaking died right away. They went out right after him. Like he was still dying when they got out there.
Yeah.
And then the whole like friggin' Mars, the air coming up and shit. And they're just like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, like the people in Venusville, you could argue, were just slowly getting through their oxygen.
Right.
They were going to die, but they were still okay enough. It's not like they were in fucking space where space is literally A, freezing cold. Okay. Yeah. B, no oxygen, no atmosphere, no nothing. Like, I was like, okay, fine, but whatever. Those are the only two parts in this whole movie where I was like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah.
You could do better than this.
Yeah, no, I was enjoying that final scene though, just watching them like I was like, yes. I was like, yeah, like if they actually killed the two main characters, that would have been ballsy. I would be like, fucking right.
That would have been ballsy. That would have been so ballsy.
Died, but everyone else is saved. I would be like, okay, all right. I know a lot of people back in.
You could have had them die in each other's arms or holding hands or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Something.
But everything leading up to that
their
point,
eyeballs are like bulging.
What about that scene where he actually has to take the tracker out? Oh, there's no way. There's like, even shooting that scene, I was like the special effects there is that same sort of like Terminator special effects where you could tell.
Yes, with the eye.
You know?
Yeah.
But it was still just like the whole time I was like, I'd have been dead. Like I would not have been able to get that out.
It was like this big. Like, how would you pull that out? That would kill you. Would that not kill you?
I feel like if it didn't kill you, that whole left nostril is just fucked for life.
Yeah, like just dangling there all fucking loose.
Just like this giant stretched out thing and everything leading up to it. Because I feel like the damage to your skull.
Like your eye would be like pushed outwards or something.
Like you got your bit of your skull here.
Yeah.
So that would have to be damaged. Like unreal.
Yeah.
But of course it's Schwarzenegger, so naturally.
Yeah, he can give birth with his nostrils, no problem.
Basic plot for this one is Buddy, like Quaid is a lowly factory worker. Not a factory worker, but like a fucking
Jackhammer.
Jackhammer, yeah. Jackhammer guy.
Yeah.
Construction worker. That's it.
Yeah.
And he wants to go to the moon. Or Mars, sorry. And everyone's like, dude, fuck Mars, man. Like, why don't you go to Saturn? And they say that so much. Like, I remember like when his wife Lori was saying, what about Saturn? I hear Saturn's great this time of year. He goes to recall and he's like, hey, so I want to go to Mars. And he's like, Mars? What about Saturn? And that's when I was like, everybody's in on this. Everybody around him is in on this. Because everyone's saying, Mars, Saturn. You want to go to Saturn, bro? And then of course, I actually didn't expect the scene cut though when they start getting him set up for recall. Then they scene cut to the hard sell.
Yeah.
When that guy's real like selling recall to that to the chick.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, of course, he's going nuts. And I like how they actually have the video phone with the doctor literally like screaming into it. And of course, he's got it muted, right? And then the secretary comes in, is like, he's freaking out. And he's just like, you blew my cover. And he's like Schwarzenegger himself is just fucking like into it. Like he's selling the whole thing. Like, you blew my cover. They're going to kill me, And he's like, trying to bust it out of the whole thing. I was like, he's gonna pop a vein in this scene. Mm-hmm. And it just starts from there and just takes off.
She's like, I haven't even given it to him yet.
that was my favorite part because he's just reacting to the hallucinations, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
She's just like, I didn't even give it to him yet, and she should have been like prick or something to that effect. Because I was like, what a fucking prick. Yeah. Like he's just like, you stupid bitch or something like that. He leaned into the bitch real hard.
Oh yeah.
And then of course, like he gets out, he gets home, and he tells his wife, and she's just like, this is all just in your head. Like, let it go. This is ridiculous. He goes to the bathroom. All of a sudden, somebody's opening fire on him. And they shot that perfectly. Like, even though I knew, spoilers, that it was Lori, I loved how they shot it so that we don't, if you didn't see the movie before, you'd be like, what happened to Lori? Where is she? Yeah. Who's shooting at him? And then you find out that it is in fact her. It's like, whoa. I also like the fact that she and Richter were an item, which I completely forgot about.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it did throw me off. And I think it's partly because like you said, in the remake, there is no Richter character. She's essentially both.
She's both. She's doing the hunting and being the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I loved. I mean, they kind of whitewashed Melina's character, but at the same time, they made a stronger female character out of the other one.
I looked through the cast actually, and they switched it around. It's not a complete whitewash because
because they made Bokeem Woodbine Harry.
Yeah, he was the buddy.
Yeah.
And then of course they expanded his role because of the movie.
Big time expansion.
Right. And the Benny character.
Right.
And also the doctor. The doctor was Asian, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was an Asian character in there.
I think the recall doctor, if I remember correctly, was Asian.
Yeah, it was John Cho.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so they switched it around, but they didn't exactly completely whitewash it. Because I was really keen to check that out when I was watching this one. Because, like I said, like Schwarzenegger had a string of like persons of color, women of color in lead women roles, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And refreshing, like in retrospect, especially now when it seems like it's like we're on the opposite end of the spectrum now. We're so far removed from whitewashing that like you have to have like one or two white people and then the rest of the cast is a person of color. I hate saying person of color, by the way.
Yeah. I don't like it either.
It's so awkward, but I mean,
aren't we just persons of whiteness?
White guy problems, right?
People of no color.
Yeah, we're the absence of color.
Yeah, the absence of color.
That's probably why they call us vanilla. We're white bread motherfuckers.
I've always preferred chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate over vanilla for sure. Every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
Oh, speaking of ice cream and stuff like that, they actually have fuzzy peach popsicles.
Ooh!
They're good, but they're not like fuzzy peach.
That's got to be sweet. That just sounds sweet to me. It's got to be like pure sugar.
It's not as sweet as I thought it would. I actually thought it would be like eating a fuzzy peach, but it wasn't, in fact.
Well, you excited me and you disappointed me in the same shot.
No. I want to temper you. So that way when you see them, because when I saw them, I went, yep, buying that. I didn't even think twice. I wasn't like, better take a look around. I was like, yep, you're in the cart. But they are good. Like they are good. They're worth it. But I don't want you to go, Krista, they taste exactly like fuzzy peaches.
Did they make any other ones? Because Swedish fish would be an awesome popsicle.
Or Swedish berries, yeah, either one.
Or berries, yes. Or big.
No, I didn't look after that actually.
Now I just want all candies to become popsicles.
Yeah, a Swedish berry popsicle would be insane.
Yes.
The blue whale popsicle would also be insane because I was a big fan of the blue whale.
Cherry twist.
Ooh, that's some nice sweet and sour shit right there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We'll have to write these notes down so that way we don't get.
We're making a popsicle company. We might not be in action movies at 41, but we're gonna be somebody.
We're gonna be popsicle.
The popsicle kings of Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Hey, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
It could definitely be worse.
So getting back to this movie. So now that Laurie is trying to kill him and Laurie's part of this, and then she says, well, hey, look, like you were mind wiped. You're Carl Hauser. This is all part of this thing. You've only been Douglas Quaid for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
And then, and Richter's showing up with his gang of dudes. And then, Harry shows up with his gang of dudes. It's like, what the fuck? Like, poor guy is literally like.
I was pretty amazed by how quick Richter caught up to Schwarzenegger when he was running for the subway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was upstairs and Schwarzenegger was on the main floor across the street already going down into the subway.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just Richter. It was Richter and his guys.
His whole guys. All of a sudden they're right there behind him.
Maybe that's a scene we're missing, and that's why Richter was able to actually go toe-to-toe for the most part with Carl Quaid or Douglas Hauser.
He just ran out the window down the building.
Maybe he's a secret mutant we don't know about.
He could be.
Couldn't have got a better guy to play the bad guy, though.
I mean, he's always him, a bad guy.
And Ronnie Cox, which I got to be honest with you, when you hear the name Ronnie Cox, you don't picture this guy.
No, not at all. I kind of picture someone with a skullet for some reason.
Yeah, I don't picture
Ronnie Cox just sounds like a name that would have a skullet.
Yeah, or like a low rent wrestler.
Yeah.
The cocky one, Ronnie Cox. And you're like, oh god.
This poor jobber from the 90s that gets beaten up all the time.
Yeah, but you have to cheer for him because he's your dad.
Hey, speaking of jobbers in the 90s, I think there's a really good movie to tell with the Brooklyn Brawler.
I don't think so. So anyway, back to this movie.
Shot down so quick.
Back to the movie at hand. The one thing I keep forgetting about Ronnie Cox, though, is because I'm such a huge Beverly Hills Cop fan.
Yep.
I always forget that he was also the bad guy in RoboCop.
Yeah.
And I think he's actually buddies with Paul Verhoeven, and that's why Verhoeven, and that's why he got into this movie, was because they needed somebody to play the bad guy, and he was just like, I'll do it.
Wasn't he also in Starship Troopers?
He might have been, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what? I think you should check because now I seem to think that he
I
was.
think that Marshall Bell, the guy that played George, and Quado? Is it Quado?
It's Quado. I just watched it. I watched it actually. Technically, I watched it twice. I watched it 2 nights ago.
Okay.
And then last night, I had it on in the background while I was doing other things.
Yeah, I think he was in Starship Troopers for sure.
But he was also in seminal classic Twins.
That is a classic.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown, Patrick Muldoon.
Oh yeah, Clancy Brown. He's one of those guys that I'm amazed is still alive.
Yeah, me too.
When I saw him in Daredevil season 2, I was like, "Oh, wow, you're still alive."
Yeah, and he was in that Detroit game too. I loved Frank. That was awesome to have him in there.
It was awesome, especially because it was like his likeness and everything. But I guess that's part of it too, right? So like, he's doing more voice work than he does live action.
Although, because he was also he was Lex Luthor in Superman the Animated Series.
Yeah, exactly. He's done a shit ton of voice work.
Yeah.
And he was also in Highlander. I can do that too.
Ooh. He's a great actor, though.
That's a weird series, actually. To talk
Pathfinder?
About Highlander?
Highlander's awesome. Have you seen Pathfinder?
No, I don't think I have.
It's got Carl Urban and Clancy Brown in it. And it's like friggin' like a Viking movie. It's pretty badass.
No, I definitely haven't seen that.
Okay.
Is that the one where the alien shows up in Viking times?
No, that was Outlander with Jim Caviezel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, Pathfinder is friggin' cool. I think it's 2007, like right after Carl Urban did Doom, and he wasn't quite a star yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Good movie. Underrated.
I will have to check that out. Not only because of, mainly just because of your recommendation. That's literally it.
It's like one of those movies I would love to do a Camcast on, but no one's heard of it, so we would get like one view.
Yeah, I feel like that's what, like, if we did Highlander, I think Highlander would do pretty good. But if we did Highlander 2 or 3, it wouldn't do nearly as good as Highlander. Highlander 2 is fucked.
Or Highlander Endgame.
Oh, I don't think I've watched that one all the way through.
Number 4, where Chris Lambert and Adrian and Paul, the one that from the TV show, come together.
Yeah, no. I remember the premise. I don't think I watched it all the way through, though.
It's also the first movie with a certain Adam Copeland.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that. Like you had uncovered a secret.
You wish
that was one of the reasons why I was familiar with that movie, was because, of course, it was because this was at a time where they still kind of did kayfabe, right? So they were still saying starring Edge, and you're like,
yeah.
Then you watch them. I did watch the movie. That's right, because the credits actually show his name is Adam Copeland.
Starring WWE's Edge.
I couldn't tell you anything about that movie now that I think about it.
I remember Christopher Lambert losing.
I remember that too, and I remember being bothered by that.
Yeah.
Because, like, even though I had seen the show, I thought the show was kind of cool. Like, it was interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Although I also checked out a couple of episodes of Highlander Raven, but that was terrible.
Never even watched that one.
I was always more of a Christopher Lambert fan anyway. Like, just in general, I thought.
Yeah.
This is the original Highlander. This is also Raiden or Raiden, depending on your pronunciation.
Yep.
I don't know. Whatever. Plus, his name's Christopher.
Christopher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where were we? Were we talking about Total Recall, or were we talking about something else?
We were talking something about Total Recall. I don't even know where we were.
We actually are at the part where, like, he's just starting to where he finds the briefcase, or the guy calls him, and he gets the briefcase so that Carl Hauser could say, "Hey, buddy,
yeah,
I'm you, but I'm not quite you. I'm you before this." I remember those scenes. I was like, "That's funny. That's funny that he's real, like, super cash about it. Like, here's the thing: you're gonna jam this up your nose, and you're gonna take the tracking device out, and as long as you listen to me, you'll be fine."
Yeah. And then cut to him being a woman at the airport.
That part, that was actually another thing. You know what's funny? Like, even though I literally like kind of half watched this twice in the last 2 days, that scene was another one where I was like, it's a really long. They took a while to get to that part.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, it seemed weird that they took that long. Also, I was like, wouldn't it have been cooler if he got past where he was supposed to be and then that shit happened? But whatever. They end up getting to Mars anyway.
It would have, yeah. It was kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, it was like if it didn't happen, it wouldn't have. It didn't add anything. I guess is the point I'm making.
No, I guess Schwarzenegger just wanted to be a woman in a movie.
I have no idea. I guess I think it was just another thing to show off the technology for the time.
Yeah,
and I guess they had a couple million to burn. I don't know, but it literally served no purpose.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's honestly, it's not one of my favorite Schwarzeneggers, and I think
it's not one of my favorites either.
I think that's why I haven't really watched it in years. It's just because the first time I watched it, I remember it not really doing anything for me the first time I watched it. Like, the special effects are the star of the movie. As far as I'm concerned, like, the special effects are so amazing in this. They overshadow everything.
I'm gonna say though, Schwarzenegger is in this movie on another level in terms of his action character, because like he's running, he's kicking, like he's actually like almost like he's very athletic in this movie, so much so that I was like, oh man, like he is moving. Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, like in the Terminator movies, he's not going to be fighting like that. But even like in Commando, it's pretty much a straight up like punch, shoot, stab type of thing.
Yeah, it's all guns and knives, right?
Yeah, where this one, he's like, he's full on. Like, I think it was one of the, because he wanted to do this movie. When they didn't cast him, I think he was like, I'll fucking show you. I feel like that was kind of his mentality. But he did really bring it. Like, even in Predator, same thing. He was just a soldier, so he wasn't really going to be kicking and stuff. But like this one was full on. So I was impressed with the fight scenes because it didn't feel like a standard Schwarzenegger movie in that sense. And you're right, like you said it earlier, where this isn't a typical Schwarzenegger movie. And yeah, 100%. But I do like that, even though this isn't a typical Schwarzenegger movie, the impression you get from Schwarzenegger is like it's another day at the office. Like it's you know.
What was the pun he used when he killed Richter on the elevator? Because as soon as I saw the arms come off, I was like, oh, a pun is coming.
I did the same thing, and it's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because it reminded me of another movie. But it was like, he goes, "Hey Richter, see you at the party."
Yeah.
And when I was watching the movie, I was like, I immediately started doing this where I go, "Richter isn't going to the party." No arms for Richter at the party.
I was just, when the arms came off, I thought it was gonna be, sorry Richter, you've been unarmed or something. Just one of those really awful Schwarzenegger puns. But then they had to see you at the party. I was like, well, I got the pun, I knew it was coming, but I wasn't expecting that one. It wasn't on the nose.
It's a terrible like one-liner. It's one of his worst one-liners. It's almost like what the hell was it? Commando, where he busts the guy's nose, puts a hat over him.
Yeah.
And then when the lady comes up, like the cart steward comes up, and she's like, "Oh, anything for your friend?" He's like, "Oh no, he's dead tired." And you're like, "Oh yeah, you get it because he's dead." This one, I'm like, is what?
You weren't going to a party. I'm so confused right now.
Well, no, they were actually going to a party. That's part of it. But like you said,
right.
if you
there was the party where he was supposed to be Hauser again, and he was going to be.
That's right. That's right. But like, I almost think you're right. Like he should have been like, sorry, Richter, I've disarmed you, or something like that. That was gross too, by the way. That was a gross way to go.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Paul Verhoeven is just like, he does not shy away from hardcore violence.
He gives no fucks.
RoboCop is a very fucking violent movie. I mean, I remember watching the bad guy melt in that and just being like scarred for weeks.
Oh yeah, and also like RoboCop in particular taints you. Like, I'm glad I didn't see it when I was a kid, like a really young kid. When I did watch it, I was so like inundated with that death scene.
Yeah.
And when you watch the RoboCop remake, that you're just like, wait, one death scene takes 10 minutes. The new death scene takes 3 seconds. What?
Yeah.
Like, and I really wanted to watch. I wanted to love the RoboCop
I wanted
remake.
to love the remake because outside of Joel Kinnaman, who I'm still not a huge fan of, the rest of the cast is insane in it. Such a good cast.
I'm actually a big Joel Kinnaman fan.
I know, because you watched The Killing, right?
I watched The Killing. I watched actually now 2 seasons of Hannah.
Yeah. I haven't watched Hannah either. I didn't even know he was in it.
I also liked him in Suicide Squad. I'm surprised you haven't watched Hannah. You should watch Hannah.
I mean, it's on my to watch list, but that fucking.
You know what? Like, it's the guy that wrote and directed the original Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote this. He directed a handful of episodes of season 2. It's just different enough. The first season is just different enough that even like having watched the movie, you're still going to be like, oh, okay. All right.
The movie is one of those movies that I enjoyed aspects of. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. Like, Eric Bana.
I've rewatched it a couple of times.
Bana was.
I've rewatched it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Bana is awesome, but I think I've watched it now 4 or 5 times, and I gotta say, like, everyone in the movie is awesome though.
Oh yeah.
Like
Saoirse Ronan. I never know how to pronounce her first name.
I can't. I don't know either, and I remember hearing it somewhere, and I was
probably
just like,
so simple too.
Yeah, but I even just like the idea of it being like an actual like dark fairy tale.
Yeah.
And it's very much a dark fairy tale, which I thought was really cool. This one, like the actual TV show, it's still kind of fairy tale-esque in that sense, but in the off chance that you end up watching it, I don't want to say too much more.
Okay. Well,
because it's good. It's good.
I plan to watch it. I just, you know what it is? I don't really put on Prime a lot. Like, Prime is always like the last service I get to, kind of thing. Like Netflix, okay, and then I move on to Crave. Like,
see, that's the thing. We don't have Crave yet, so for us, it's Netflix, it's Amazon, or it's Plex. Like one of the guys I used to work with got me set up with his Plex account, so I have access to like tons of movies and TV shows.
Okay.
So I think that's another reason why I haven't gone the Crave route, but I'll probably be doing Crave soon enough.
I mean, I got Crave because I love HBO shows. So,
yeah.
You know, like, friggin', it's been worth it for Game of Thrones and Curb Your Enthusiasm alone. Oh, and Barry. Barry is such a good show. Have you seen that one yet?
No, I haven't. I actually really wanted to, but I'm surprised that you're a huge Curb Your Enthusiasm fan. Well, I shouldn't say surprised, but like, I am a little surprised, actually. Yeah.
Really? I love Curb.
Because
I've watched Curb since the beginning.
Huh. Look at you. Look at you.
Look at me. I was in Dryden in 2002. I was by myself working in that mill there. And every morning I would get up at 6 a.m. I would like make my breakfast. I would turn on the TV, and Curb Your Enthusiasm was playing in that hotel room every morning at 6. And I would watch Curb before I went to work. And it would put me in just a good enough mood to make it through 12 hours of a garbage day.
That would be like, I've even like tried, like when people go like, oh, I don't know if I would like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I always say, well, okay, so you watch Seinfeld? And they go, yeah. Did you like Seinfeld? And they're like, yeah, I thought Seinfeld was funny. I was like, okay, so it's like, a show about nothing, right? Like nothing happens. Okay, so he helped write it and produce it, and he's the basis of George Costanza. The difference is that this guy, his character, says and does the things that we don't do.
Yeah, the things we're thinking of doing, but we never go through with it.
Yeah, he says and does those things and gives no fucks, right? Yeah. Like not last season, but the season before, where he had the fuckwad put on him. I watched a couple episodes of the newest season, and I'm just like, this is just like when he's wearing the MAGA hat to get out of shitty conversations. And then it backfires on him. That's one of the things.
Episode was so good.
That's one of the things that I love about that show too, is that like he never wins. He can never win. Yeah. It's always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's one of my favorite shows of all time too. And that one, for people that haven't seen it, I always describe it like Seinfeld if everyone's a horrible piece of shit. Like, forget about the stuff that you think you remember about Seinfeld. Nobody's really that good in Seinfeld. I mean, the best person in Seinfeld is Kramer, and even he's not the best person, right? Now imagine if they're all terrible pieces of shit. Like, they're horrible people. There's no redeeming qualities out of any one of them. Now decide if you want to watch the show, because it gets dark and heavy. But it's hilarious all the way through.
I need to give Sunny another shot. I tried a couple episodes of the first season, and I couldn't get into it. But I think if I kept with it until the second season, when DeVito comes in and it starts to get its footing and like what it is, I think I would enjoy it more.
But see, the thing too about the first season, and I've said before too, like I've actually told people, like, you don't necessarily have to watch the first season. You can actually start from season 2 and go on, because when DeVito shows up, it definitely really starts to get to become its own, like, to be It's Always Sunny, right?
Yeah.
However, you got to go through the first season. You have to, because, I mean, if you can get through the first season and get into this really dark humor, it gets worse. It just gets even darker all the way through.
I think that's a hard thing with a lot of like comedies, right? The first season is sometimes often hard to get through. Like, with The Office, I wasn't really into The Office at first until like the second season.
I was in the same boat. Like, even now when I rewatch episodes of the first season, I'm like, yeah, it's, Parks and Rec is the same way too.
Yeah.
Where I love Parks and Rec. Like, I'm more of a Parks and Rec guy than The Office. But even I'll say, like, the first season I don't think it's as hard for me to get through as The Office is, but it's definitely different. And like, I know, like, of course, they purposely changed how the people reacted to Leslie Knope's character.
Yeah.
And they made her less ditzy. Those were the two big changes. Like, but that's cool. But even the stuff with Michael Scott, they changed him quite a bit.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like, that's the nice thing about the first season of The Office is it was only 6 episodes, so like it didn't really know what it wanted to be yet. But it's so quick to get through that first season.
Oh yeah,
like 2 hours and you're done. So,
but I mean, if you ever actually think that it's tough to get through the first season, watch the British version.
Yeah.
That one is.
He's a. I don't know.
Well,
he's a funny dude, but I don't know. I never really get into his shit.
No, you know what it is so the American Office, they want you to laugh at some of the people, but ultimately laugh with them and ultimately like them. Whereas the BBC Office, they want you to laugh at them. Like, they want you to literally be like, oh, you guys are just the worst. But I will say this, though. I've only watched the first season. I've only watched the BBC Office all the way through once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Well, I mean, British humor it's a different beast. I mean, like, you're either going to like it or you're not going to like it.
I agree completely. But like, because I watched a lot of Red Dwarf back in the day, so I thought, okay, well, oh, hey, buddy. I thought back in the day I could be like, oh, I'll check out, The Office and go from there. But even those two are two different types of BBC humor. So
yeah, like I think the only sitcom I've really fully enjoyed from the BBC is, or I don't even know if it was BBC, but it was Spaced. You ever watch Spaced all the way through? Edgar Wright's show with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost?
No, I actually haven't watched anything of it.
Oh, it's really good. But it's like, it took me a few episodes to really get into it because I was like, this is weird humor. I don't know when I should laugh kind of thing. You know what I mean?
The IT Crowd. The IT Crowd was one where I watched a couple episodes. And even though I love Chris O'Dowd, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't want to watch any more episodes.
Yeah.
And that one's more sitcom-y than the Office. Like it's more of a sitcom, but I was like,
yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah. So, Total Recall?
I recall.
I totally recall.
Yes, that is what I should have said. Yes. Look at you. You know what? We mentioned earlier about how like Hollywood loves Philip K. Dick movies. They really do love Philip K. Dick's works. Like I think he's one of the authors. Part of it is that he wrote a lot, but he's one of the ones that has like most of his movies or most of his books have been made into a movie in some way, shape, or form. Like even just the knowing that they were trying to make a sequel for Total Recall.
Yeah.
Was interesting. And Quaid was going to be a cop. And it was going to be like Minority Report, where they were going to have the pre-crime with, but instead of the precogs, they would have been mutants, right?
Right.
Oh, before I forget, one of my favorite scenes is when he goes to Mars and the little girl psychic shows up.
Yeah.
And she's like, I bet you're a Taurus. He's like, how did you know? And he just does that little cute little touch of her chin. I was like in real life, that would, if I saw that like on Reddit or something, I'd have been like, oh, that is just so sweet. Like he didn't have to, like, I know that's part of the movie or whatever. It's just a really cute scene where, because like obviously she knows she looks like a fucking freak show. There's no way she doesn't know that.
But the fact that he could look past it and just see this adorable little girl.
Yeah, I was just like, that's such a cute little scene. Like, I guess it's one of those where I go, like, they created Douglas Quaid, but they created him so good that even when they tried to make him into Carl Hauser, they really couldn't. Like, physically, he was Carl Hauser, but mentally, he was this new guy, Douglas Quaid, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. I'm looking at the list right now of Philip K. Dick's works that became movies. Because, I mean, when you think about, like, Blade Runner, Total Recall, and Minority Report immediately come to mind.
Yeah. But then there's Replicant. Not Replicant. Imposter. Imposter's one. Paycheck is another.
Paycheck is one, yeah.
Imposter, is it Imposter or... Gary Sinise, I think, is in it.
Imposter, yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so that's another one.
Screamers.
Screamers?
Yeah, with Peter Weller from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly is awesome. That's probably one of my favorite Philip K. Dick movies.
Yeah.
Wait, Next?
Next is...
You said Next.
Next.
Like Nicolas Cage and Jessica Biel.
Based on the novel story The Golden Man by Philip K. Dick.
Why didn't they call it The Golden Man? That sounds way cooler than Next.
The Adjustment Bureau? That's an awesome movie.
Oh, yes. Adjustment Bureau. That's right. That's another one. So we're at like 9 right now. I haven't watched that one yet.
That looks like pretty much it, besides The Man in High Castle. That's also him. The TV show on Amazon.
Yeah. Michelle actually watched that for a bit and then just gave up. She said it stopped.
I mean, it sounds really cool. I haven't watched it, but I mean, it's really interesting, right? What would the world be like if Germany won World War II? Like,
And then you found out that it was actually an alternate universe or an alternate timeline. Well, how do you fix it?
Yeah, that's neat.
I don't know. How do you? Because I haven't watched the show.
I haven't watched it either.
I only watched like a handful of episodes while Michelle was watching it.
That's more than I've watched. Yeah, so I mean, overall, Total Recall, it made me want to watch the remake again. I haven't watched the remake for a while. I remember liking
I have to
the remake.
agree.
I
have to
remember liking
agree.
the
I
remake.
kind of wanted to.
I definitely want to revisit that now.
Yeah, I want to actually. I got to be honest with you. I want to revisit all of the Philip K. Dick movies, every single one except for Imposter, because I've never seen it. So I want to watch that one for the first time because everything else I've seen.
I've seen Imposter, but I don't really remember much about it. I think Gary Sinise is an astronaut who goes to space and comes back, and then he's not Gary Sinise anymore. I think that's kind of what it. Like he was replaced in space, or maybe maybe I'm mixing that with the astronaut's wife.
Well, actually, they're very similar because Imposter, Gary Sinise's character is supposed to be like, I think that in their timeline, aliens took over, and they can make like perfect copies and use them as bombs.
Okay.
And the bombs are shaped like hearts, and the only way that you can really figure out if you're an imposter or not is either you get close to your target, because then what looks like a heart is now the bomb, or like you get tested by this medical machinery thing, like an X-ray machine, essentially, that'll tell you if you're an imposter or not. Apparently, it bombed terribly, and I remember. I remember when this movie came out and thinking to myself, like, really? Like Gary Sinise is a leading man? I don't see it.
Yeah, that's why it bombed. I mean, Gary Sinise is not a leading man. He's a great supporting actor. He's
great supporting actor. I mean, Lieutenant Dan, for fuck's sakes.
I mean, yeah.
But like, top guy?
He's not a lead.
No, he's not. And I also have to watch Adjustment Bureau. So those are the two that I haven't seen.
You've never seen Adjustment Bureau?
You know why? Because I honestly was like, this seems like a weird Jason Bourne movie.
It's really good. In fact, it is a really good, like, it's action-packed, but it's also like a really good romance.
Okay.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like, I mean, most of the movies on this list I've seen and I've enjoyed immensely.
Yeah.
Except for Paycheck.
Except for Paycheck.
I probably, but to be fair, I probably won't enjoy Imposter. In fact, I feel like if I watch Imposter and then watch Paycheck, I might be like, Paycheck's not that bad, actually. Like, I mean, there's a lot of positives to Paycheck.
Yeah.
I might still think it's terrible.
Frick, I really remember Diddly Squad about the Imposter. I know the poster. I remember seeing that VHS pop up in my parents' store, but
well, I remember that too, but I remember just being like, nah, I don't even. But that was also before I was like, I realized that Philip K. Dick did so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those, like, it would be nice to revisit and just see which one, because you never know, like, your standings might change, right? Like, obviously Blade Runner is at the top of the list. In my opinion, Minority Report is at the top of the list for me.
Mm-hmm.
Total Recall would be at the top, like, if I'm picking. But I have to rewatch Scanner Darkly because part of me thinks that I would actually have like Blade Runner and Scanner Darkly almost neck and neck. Because I really liked Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, Scanner Darkly is another movie I haven't watched in years. I think I watched it when it came out, 2006. Yeah, I did. I rented the movie from Blockbuster.
It was a little bit later for me. It showed up on the movie channels when I lived at my grandparents'.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? And I watched it. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. But I haven't watched it since. So who knows? You didn't like Minority Report, though. I remember that.
No. Honestly, Philip K. Dick, I mean, I've never really liked any movie based on his work besides Screamers. I'm warming up to it now as I get older. I think the thing is...
What about Blade Runner?
I never liked Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah, no, we both were like, It's only when we rewatch it.
I really enjoyed and appreciated it a lot more watching it back to back with 2049.
Yeah, that's true. I did like Blade Runner though. I remember liking it.
Yeah. And I think it depends on the cut you watch, because last time I watched the final cut, which I enjoyed a lot more than I believe it was the theatrical I watched originally.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta watch the final cut.
Yeah.
I didn't watch theatrical.
Yeah. So, but
I feel bad though. Like I feel like Philip K. Dick was one of those guys that, like, because his themes in his movies are very similar. Like it's a lot of like, who am I? Am I real? Is this real? You know.
Yeah.
Question authority. Like authority's bad. Stuff like that. Like, if I remember correctly, I think he experimented with drugs a lot while he was writing. I think he was a mushroom guy. He did a lot of like hallucinogens.
I can see
but
that.
I'll have to. Yeah, but like I mean, at the same time, like some prolific sci-fi shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, you open up your mind completely, and fuck the shit that's gonna flow out of it.
Yeah. So, long story short, Total Recall, awesome movie. It is one of Schwarzenegger's best, I will say. The problem, or not the problem, but the thing is that because his catalog is so huge that even being one of his best doesn't scratch the surface.
Yeah, like to me, it's enjoyable, but it's not one of my favorite Schwarzeneggers. It's easily one of his most famous, most popular roles. I mean, easily.
Oh yeah.
For years, I saw Total Recall everywhere before I actually finally watched it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that poster alone, like when I saw the box cover, I was like, oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So good. Well, I mean, plus you got the 3-tit lady, there's that. Quado.
There's that.
Quado was definitely one that people, like there's a lot of iconic imagery here.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Lots of iconic.
I mean, I'm curious, like, what is your favorite Schwarzenegger movie?
Oh, it would be T2, hands down.
Yeah, it would have to be T2. You sure you don't want to go with the Dark Skies or Dark Fate or whatever?
What? Dark Skies.
What's the latest Terminator? Is it Dark Fate or?
Oh, Dark Fate. Dark Fate? I already forget the title. Dark Fate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dark Fate. It's
Dark Fate. Dark Fate wasn't bad. I mean, I've enjoyed all the Terminator movies. I don't hate any of them.
Even Genesis?
I enjoyed Genesis. It's easily my least favorite because it's so PG and I hate it. But
I don't even hate the fact that it's PG. It's just shitty.
I enjoyed scenes in it. It is the worst of the bunch, though.
I enjoyed scenes. You sold it right there, buddy.
Sold it. You know what movie is fucking awesome in Terminator that gets too much slack is Salvation. Salvation is an awesome Terminator movie.
Salvation was a really good movie. Really good movie. It's.
I mean, like they didn't depend on Schwarzenegger. They went and did their own thing in the future. Really cool. I love it.
I'm actually like really disappointed that movie didn't do better.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see more of that.
Oh, me too. Like I was so pumped. Like Christian Bale was really great in it.
It's Christian Bale, though.
Anton Yelchin was great as Kyle Reese.
It's Anton Yelchin.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I doubt he would have been able to finish the trilogy because he passed away not much longer after it.
No, it was
4 years after it. 4 years ago.
I want to say yeah.
Or no, maybe.
Well, hold on, because
his last movie was Green Room, and that was only a few years ago.
And Star Trek was 2009, and then I believe it was 2013 or
13, and then 17, right?
Yeah,
it was every 4 years. And I believe that was his last movie, the third Star Trek, because there was a tribute to him.
That's the one, yeah. That's the one. So it's possible. It's possible. They had a couple of things going against it. One thing was it Mick G that directed that?
Mm-hmm.
So overall, while I liked the movie, there was just some things with the direction that I didn't like. The other thing was, of course, everyone was shitting on Bale for yelling at the stagehand.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man,
He got huge flack for that one.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I think the other part was that for some reason, Terminator fans were going into this thinking it was going to be like the other movies. Even though it was literally billed as we're seeing the Resistance before that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was really cool. I got to see John Connor like move up the ranks and actually have people like Michael Ironside, for instance, literally go, hold on, maybe this guy is gonna help us. You know, maybe this guy isn't the bullshit messiah that they keep saying he is. Maybe he will actually help us. You know.
Mm-hmm. No,
but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. As a standalone movie, it's still a solid standalone. I just would have loved to see more in that universe.
Although the deleted ending where what's his face, Sam Worthington, where John Connor actually dies, but then they superimpose John Connor's face onto the T whatever he was, the android body. That was like a rumored thing where like, so now he lives on as John Connor. If they would have ended like that though, I would have been like, that's crazy. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I mean, like, I like the idea of it being this one human that is able to beat the robots, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, we were winning and then John Connor died and then we faked everybody out and it's actually a Terminator, you know. Plus, it wouldn't have made any sense because they weren't at that point. Because, like, Kyle Reese was like a full-grown man when they were at a point where the T-800s were able to fake out dogs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wouldn't have made sense.
No. But awesome movie. So, that is the Total Recall Camcast.
Twins would be my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, just so
Twins.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched that movie, but I would have to say that would be my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
I love Twins. It really surprises me that's your favorite.
It surprises me too, and I almost don't want to say it because it might wreck my Geek Pants cred, but I would have to say, like honestly, if I had a choice, like if someone was like, hey, we can watch Twins or Terminator, I would say let's watch Twins.
I mean, it could be worse. You could have said Junior.
Or maybe Terminator 2. I think I might actually have to say Terminator 2 because I mean, if I had the choice of watching Terminator 2 or Twins, I would probably pick Terminator 2. Junior. Ugh. Yeah, we watched that in the theater, and I fell asleep watching that in the theater.
That was my birthday movie.
Yeah, I remember missing a part of it because I fell asleep because it was not that good. I watched it after that, and it's still pretty bad. Like it's still
funny
pretty
moments,
bad.
But it's so far fetched and just like weird.
That's what it is. It's a weird movie. Like I mean, I know we're talking about Twins, and that's a weird movie. Like, but they don't really emphasize how weird it is. It's only when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's some weird like sci-fi shit where they're like, well, we took, like 12 of the top fittest dudes and somehow got their DNA into that woman. And you guys came out. You were everything great. You were everything else. I was like, that's horrible. It's horrible, But then you watch Junior and you're just like, what? What is happening? Like, who actually sat there and said, like, men should get pregnant? Whoever said that is retarded.
If I was going to do like a top 5 Schwarzenegger movies, it would be Terminator 1 and 2, Predator, End of Days, and Twins is pretty funny too, but I don't think it would be one of his comedies. I mean, I think.
Well, now see, like, I actually am rethinking because, like, it's tough because
I love Eraser too. Eraser is an awesome movie.
Yeah, well, Racer's so good.
Yeah,
Racer would be on my top 5 for sure. Terminator 2 for sure. What else? Man, because he's got so many, and I'm such a huge fan that I know that I'm forgetting more.
Yeah.
Than you know.
I mean, it's friggin' huge.
Yeah, like it is huge. It is huge. Huh. Twins, yeah, definitely would be Twins. That's for sure on my list. Predator for sure. You know what's weird? You and I are both stuck on what the 5th one would be.
Because it's the last one and there's so many good ones left. It's like, what do I put in that spot?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, tough.
I had no second guessing with End of Days. I love End of Days so much. So much. I love the fact that
that's another super cheesy. Actually, I would have to say probably End of Days because I did really like that movie, even though like it's cheesy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's cheesy, but I mean, Gabriel Byrne was so awesome as Satan, and the fact that it took the devil to kill Schwarzenegger, like.
But he killed Satan first, though.
He did.
He died killing Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell was his name? Jericho Kane? Is that what it was?
Jericho Kane, yeah.
Oh. That's another one too, where like he lost his wife and his child, so he's a hard drinker.
Yeah.
But he's fucking jacked.
Still jacked. Yeah.
He eats chicken and broccoli, works out, steroids and alcohol. That's it. That's his diet for Jericho Kane.
Jericho Kane, the Jericho Kane diet.
It is. I actually really like that movie. It's one of those where I shouldn't like it as much as I do because it's like Gabriel Byrne. Like everyone in it is great, but it's not a good movie. Like really, when you think about it, it's actually not a really good movie. But for whatever reason, we just love it.
I love it. I don't know. Like it's just.
I'm shitting on it pretty hard, but I do love it. I have to rewatch it, but I feel like because I remember watching the first time around, I was like, I shouldn't like this.
Yeah, no. You know what number 5 is? Number 5 is Batman and Robin.
I was waiting for you to say that, and I was going to actually say, if you say that, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. But I know that this is for the purposes of humor.
Yes,
but. That's also, I wouldn't say that's a Schwarzenegger movie. I would argue
it's not.
That's a George Clooney movie.
It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. That was a joke, everyone. That was a joke. I have bad taste with some movies, but not that bad.
Yeah, like everyone's got movies where like, or TV shows or whatever, where they're just kind of like, I don't know what to tell you. I just love it.
I love it.
You know what I mean? You know, like the fucking Pauly Shore catalog are all just terrible movies, but I love every one of them. I love every one of them. I love Pauly Shore. So it's like, it's just, it's just those things.
Yeah. A lot of it is like what you grew up on, right?
Right. But Batman and Robin is definitely a bad movie because seeing that in the theater and going, this is a bad Batman movie.
Yeah.
This is a really bad Batman movie. You know?
Right from the opening nipple, crotch, butt shots. I was like, oh boy.
Well, no, because you'd already seen nipples in Batman Forever.
Right, but they definitely did a close-up of the crotch and butt in this.
Oh, this was like if it's literally like if you did not like Batman Forever, then don't watch Batman and Robin.
Yeah, because the little bit of redeeming factors that Batman Forever has They're removed completely for Batman and Robin.
Yeah, like
window.
Just like they took everything and then just dialed it up so much. Like I remember the first what was it, 10 minutes of Batman Forever, and it's this scene where like he's in that vault and like acid is being poured in,
right?
And there's the dude there and he's got the hearing aid, and Batman takes the hearing aid so that he could hear the clicks for when he opens up the vault. I was like, that's genius. That is so genius. Sadly, the rest of the movie isn't that intelligent. And they don't treat Batman that smart at all for the rest of that movie and the next one.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was cool. Plus, he was also decked out in the black suit, and it was very similar to the Batman Returns suit. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, if Batman and Robin was better, would we have gotten the Batman Begins? Probably not.
Probably not.
So
we would have got Batman Triumphant.
Yeah, it sounds like it would have been good on paper.
I totally remember that. They were talking to Robin Williams to be the Mad Hatter.
Yep. Oh, I thought he was the Riddler.
No, he was going to be the Mad Hatter.
I actually would have pictured him more as Mad Hatter. I always thought he was down for the Riddler, but
yeah, well, no, the Riddler was already Forever, right? Triumphant was going to be the fifth movie in that series.
That's right. Yes, yeah. I don't know why I'm saying Riddler, but yes, Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Imagine. I'm actually glad though. I don't want to see Mad Hatter. He's one of those ones where I don't want to see too much of, because he's, like I said before, he's a weird character.
He's kind of creepy when you really think about him.
He's a borderline pedophile if you really think about it. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, this is tough. Like the way he's handled in the animated series, is the only way to do him without getting into that pedophilia angle. Yeah. Because it's really close. It's really close. Like even in the Arkham game, I remember, was it Arkham Origins or Arkham City? It might have been Arkham City, but I remember just being like, "Oh, this is so close. It's disturbing."
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about that stuff. Total Recall. Woo! Recall. You are awesome. Oh, hey, Geek Pantsers. I forgot what I was going to say, actually. That's so weird.
Yeah, what were you going to say? I can only do this for so long. I mean...
Oh, I was going to do the outro, but what screwed me up was I said, hey, Geek Pantsers.
Right.
I was going to do that thing where I go, hey, Kenneth, where can we be seen? I said, hey, Geek Pantsers, because I'm a professional.
But we can be seen on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Here on YouTube, where you can watch our handsome faces, or if you just want to hear our voices, you can hear us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also catch us at geekpantsmedia.com, where we're still waiting for Chris's first big piece, the big article.
Chris forgot all about that.
It's coming.
It is coming. It is coming. But thank you for reminding me about that, so I can get to work on it.
Get to work, man. What are you doing all day long?
Working. And then when I'm not working, I'm being a good husband and a good pet owner. I don't want to say master. I don't like that term.
Master.
But pet owner sounds so informal.
Master of dogs.
Master of puppets. He's walking his dog. That's all I got.
You know, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Was it a complete fail?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. We will see you here for one of the trilogies we haven't decided on yet.
You know what? Whichever trilogy, you'll just show up. You'll love it. And that's it. That's all. All right? Thanks, everybody. You Geek Pantsers are great.